Hey again, everyone. Welcome to part two. This is Kortland Rainbow. Thanks for checking out my channel. So, in part one, I basically told you guys a situation of what my life. I briefly got to like what my life was like before I went to Rainbow, which I was living with my roommate, and my dad was homeless and not very fun, obviously. He brought me there. So, that kind of led up to my whole experience being there. Like, with going there with my dad, it was a little bit awkward with which is my whole life is just awkward. um it was a little bit awkward with like telling people like I came there with my dad. Oh no, he's not a hippie, but he's cool with this. He thinks it's pretty cool. And he's not actually in the place. He actually went back into town. So everyone was kind of a little bit, of course they were really accepting about it. They didn't care. But they were just like, "Oh, that's cool." Or they were like, "It's cool that your dad brought you here actually." So yeah, the rainbow was awesome, but because of that, I had a little bit of a weird experience because most people that came with their friends or they might have brought their kids there. Not too many people came with their parents, and that's pretty unique of what happened with me. So then I got in there, and basically you drive. The closest town is a half hour away. You go into like this national forest kind of thing, and what everyone does is it's not I don't know if it's illegal, but they pick a big forest and they just go in there for like 2 weeks, and that's the rainbow gathering. You meet the most amazing people, and it's great if you go with your friends. So I'm gonna keep saying I hope to see you guys there next year. I don't know what state it's gonna be in. I'm not sure yet. I hear it might be in Vermont, so it's kind of weird. But uh, I get there at night, and my dad's trying to find a place to park forever. For like, well, basically for like an hour, we try to find a place to park. Tons of cars there, and then what we just don't know is that like there's this parking area, and then like you drive in, you get to all the cars, and then it's like a mile walk in, and then that's where everyone's camping. Basically in their cars, and through that mile from the beginning to the actual like place where everyone kind of is. People are camping in between there, and then they go up the mountain even more, and people are camping there. And it was amazing. But we try to find a place, and I'm just like, Dad, I'm gonna go in. I'll see you tomorrow. No, there was no cell phone, freaking whatever it's called. No cell phones because your cell phone's gonna die, and there was no whatever the word is, like no range, or we were just too far out there for any cell phone to work. And so I actually did not see him the next day, and I'll get into that. But it was nighttime, and I was like, didn't know how far in the walk was. The walk was a mile in, and during that mile in, I met this guy. His name was fuck, what was his name? I forgot his name. I don't remember his name. But that's not important. I can remember it off if I wasn't making a video. But basically, he he and I hit it off, and we were talking because we're both losers. Not really, but something like that. He came with his friends, and so he wasn't with his friends for some reason. I don't know why. They had gave him a tab of acid, and he was like, "Yeah, this is his friends, obviously." But he was like, "Yeah, people, if you're cool people, they'll give you like some acid or something, some shrooms." And I was like, "All right, cool, man." So we go to the fire, and this is still the first night, and this guy is and we talked to this lady. The first lady I talked to, she was older. Her name was Dreamcatcher. She was an old hippie from like Arizona or New Mexico or something. And then we go and sit by the fire, and we hugged her, and because she gave us some good advice. She was just like, this is love. Because the guy who was on acid, he was like, what's the point of all this, man? Like, I don't know. But like it was great fate that he was the first person I talked to. It's like we connected like really well. I was like a year older than him, so I had a little bit of insight to give him on life. And so I was still talking to him after I talked to Dreamcatcher, and then we went by the fire, and this was the big main fire. There's fires all over, but this is the big main fire, and there's like 100 people around it, and and I was really overwhelmed by the amount of people there. I would love to have just gone and talked to everyone, but I was a little bit nervous at still a little bit, because basically you're coming from this whole world, and you're going into this beautiful like utopia of hippieism, but it's more than that. It's like modern hippieism, like real, where the world needs to go. And so um, we're sitting there, and there's this guy next to us, and he's another old hippie. There's this guy from Michigan. He gave me like, we smoked a joint with him, and the older guy, he was talking about how when you look at a atom or something, when you look at an atom, it changes basically. And we were having a pretty quick conversation about that, because we vibed pretty good, where this other guy was just like, this other random guy who was being a total drainbow. He was like, he was trying to trip everyone out on his whole like fucking new age spiritual thing, which is, the new age thing is real, but he was like trying to be all cool with it or whatever, like just not even like totally realistic with it. And then me and the older guy were just like, yeah, this guy is fucking full of shit. Like the real shit is like just straight love. And so I remember there was this lady who was just screaming because she was having a bad trip. She was just screaming. And my friend Alejandro, that was the first guy I met. I remember his name, Alejandro. I'm pretty sure it was Dra. Um, she was just like getting depressed by it, because he was like, I wish I could do something for her. And we were like, dude, she's gonna be fine. She will be fine. She's just having a bad trip. And the old guy, he was just like, all the things that are negative about your life, when you're on acid, they bubble to the surface. And so it's not just she's having a bad trip, it's like her life is not great or something. And it's very true. And so um, I'm still talking about the first night. Like I covered this in my first video, but I want to get into the real parts of it. Uh, I met those couple people, and the old guy, he had a girlfriend, and she was very nice. She was beautiful. And so me and that old guy and her and Alejandro clicked. And that was my first like, dude, these people are amazing. And we were just sitting by the fire, it was warm. I had to bring in a gallon of water and my guitar and some clothes and a tent. So that's what I brought, and some food, mangoes, like granola bars and stuff like that. And so I had no idea. It was just so weird for me, because I had no idea how long I was gonna be there, because my dad didn't want to stay too long, and he's a warrior type of guy, so he's gonna be like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? What's going on? And so I didn't know. So that made my time not the best, but it didn't impact very much, because I still had a great time. But basically, um, we were sitting by the fire. I met this other guy named Douche Baggins, and he had took a railroad car there. Like he rode railroad to get there, and then um, the girl was having a bad trip, and then this guy with the saxophone and his friend with the guitar, and this random girl who was just walking with them because they had instruments. Or she might have been hanging out with them for a few days or something. She had a cajon also, so it was those three. They walked up, and the guy with the sax and the, oh, and by the way, at this fire, the whole basically mountain type of range. It's like a mile in diameter type of thing. 2 mile in diameter type of festival. It's big. There's drums, like Native American drums, going off everywhere. But in this little circle, he starts playing his sax, and me and the guy start playing guitar. And it was a little bit annoying, because like a sax and a acoustic guitar don't go perfect together. But we played it a little bit, and we were like, let's. I thought it was weird that he had a saxophone, but like, props to him for having a saxophone. I thought that it was that people were like, "Oh my god, that guy has a saxophone." I thought it was like not as big as people were playing it up to be, but I mean, saxophones sound great, so I'm on both sides of it. I thought it was a little bit weird though, but you don't meet too many saxophone players, and so we were just all of us were like, "What?" But the girl didn't play cajon yet, so I didn't notice that she was with them, and um, so I'm having a whole like change of reality here. It's just like this is not like real life. It was so beautiful. But they were just like, let's go somewhere else a little bit quieter so we can play. And so we started walking around, and then Alejandro, the first dude I met, he came because he was just like my homie at that point. And the other dude who I smoked the joint with, I was like, I'll see you later, man. I hope to see you around. And so we were like, let's go to what was it called? Montana Mud. And everyone calls coffee there, they call it mud. I don't drink coffee though. Everyone else was drinking coffee. I thought it was weird. Like, why would you drink coffee while you're camping? Doesn't feel like it's gonna impact your stomach very good. So, um, there was just tons of hippies everywhere by the fire because of the nighttime. But we left to go to Montana Mud. So we went there. Well, we were trying to find it, and I had no idea where I was going. They knew where they were going a little bit, but we went the wrong direction at first. And then I started talking to the girl, and I was like, "What's your name? Where are you from?" She said her name was V. And I was like, "Okay, my name's K," which I don't know why I said that. I should have just said my name is Kortland. But I thought she was fucking gorgeous. And we were just in the forest. She had these dreads, and she had a beautiful Israeli accent. And it was just so weird. Like, why am I here in this national forest that's just been here for thousands of years? It just felt like everything in my life was coming into place where like everything in the moment was just for me, you know? Like I'm like well more like everything that the earth is giving me is for me. Like I'm in this beautiful place and there's this beautiful woman. But she was walking to the cajon and we were talking and she was telling me about the place and I was like, yeah, I just got here. And it was very casual. I wasn't trying to be like, I think you're incredibly beautiful, you know, all that, whatever. I was playing it cool, I guess. But I was also just like having a regular conversation, which is what you should do with women. You know, they're intelligent people. So I was crushing on her, but like I was also new there, so I was like, "What's going on here?" You know, she was telling me that there's trade circles down by the entrance where you can trade anything you got, and a lot of what I traded was crystals. I brought a lot of crystals with me. I'll tell you guys something cool about what I got for a crystal. You're gonna love it. So she was telling me she got this meditation bowl that it was like this big, you know, fit in her hand, and she also said she got this flute. So we actually went to Montana Mud. We were walking, and at this point, I was goddamn barefoot. Okay, someone was like, "Dreamcatcher was a beautiful soul," and she was like, "Take your shoes off," and it was a little bit chilly, but not too chilly to like not have your shoes on. So at that point, me and Alejandro, we had both taken our shoes off. We were just walking in the forest with no shoes on, man. And so it was incredible. It was truly incredible. So much fun. So I'm talking to this girl, and then the rest of the instrument, the musician guys are like next to us, and I'm talking to all of them, and trying to talk to her and get her attention. Though I guess I was. Uh, I we eventually got there. We sat down, and they were serving pizza. I don't eat pizza, so I didn't have any pizza. I thought it was weird that they were serving pizza. Like, yeah, pizza's fun, but who wants to eat pizza in the fucking forest? That's what I think. I think fruit, you know, oatmeal, which is what I eventually had. They were serving. They did have vegan options, and they were pretty vegan friendly. And I met some other really cool vegans. they were like eating pizza and coffee, which is just a weird combination, I guess. I don't know. But the kitchens, this is my first kitchen I went to. And some kitchens, there at this particular one, there was one right across, like 20 feet away. But some of the kitchens, there's a good number of kitchens out there that they had. And so I didn't know this yet, but the kitchen I was at, they had, two kitchens right there, but across the whole mountain, they had multiple kitchens, where you can just go get food. And so we all sit down and we play guitar until the night until the sun comes up, which was pretty early. I remember, and it was just blue, and I was just talking to this girl and Alejandro, and I remember when the sun came up, I just saw her beautiful green eyes, and I was just like, and her like brown hair and her accent was just awesome. Very beautiful. I guess I have a thing for accents, especially Middle Eastern. We're just gonna skip ahead past that. And so the guy with the sax and the other guy with the guitar, they were both pretty cool, pretty chill dudes. And what else happened? Eventually, when the sun came up, they started making food. This guy who was in a wheelchair, he he was old, but he had a fucking mandolin. He played the shit out of that mandolin. So this other guy was playing guitar, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you gotta bend those fucking strings, man. Anyone could play guitar, but it's all about bending the strings right, man." Because he was playing this blues stuff, and he was just killing it, man. So I eventually like was stepping my game up with my guitar skills. I was like learning all types of new stuff. I was pretty stoned. I'd smoked a few cigarettes, and I don't smoke cigarettes normally, which is good. Do not smoke cigarettes. Tobacco is sacred. Only smoke it at certain times. And when you're around good people, and in the forest, it's a good time to smoke a cigarette. Because tobacco, I've only smoked a few, but like I can make a whole video about tobacco. It connects you with the ground and with the sky and the smoke. It helps you speak spirituality because it's like, and I meant to say speak to the creator of the all, because it's like you put a prayer into that smoke, it's sacred. But a lot of people smoked a lot of cigarettes. I did not smoke a lot of cigarettes, just occasional, because some people rolled spliffs and etc. But I'm not a cigarette smoker. If I did smoke a cigarette, it'd be an American Spirit, which I'm not gonna say they're the most pure because I don't know. I'm not the one growing it, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. The sun came up. We were just sitting by the fire. People walking in and out of the kitchen. It's an outdoor kitchen. It's clean though, of course. There's places to wash, but it's clean. It's outdoor kitchen. Um, if you couldn't, I hope that was clarified. You weren't thinking that was indoors because it was definitely outdoors. Big fire. They had a big pan about this freaking big, really big, which they occasionally use to make scrambled eggs, which was disgusting, I thought. But that's my perspective. Eating chicken periods is weird. But I mean, I hope I see this girl again because she was very beautiful and she played the cajon and she was playing it really awesomely and I was just like smiling at her and she had a beautiful smile. It was amazing. But she was just this hippie girl, dude, with dreads and like one funny thing she said, I was like, I just got here, and she was like, "Oh, you're still clean," because most people were kind of a little bit dirty. Like, yeah, there, there's not really a place to shower, but there's hoses to shower with. So yeah, this is the first day still, first night I got there. So my dad I was gonna meet up with him the next day, but I eventually did not do that, which made him worry a lot. But I did see him the next day after that. Okay, so I'm playing with all these people, and she's like, "I'm gonna go take a shower." And looking back, I wanted to ask, like, can I walk with you there? Not like, can I shower with you, which has been weird, but can I walk with you there? I don't know if she was feeling me, but I feel like she was. And I was feeling her. I don't know her name though, which sucks. I hope to see you again if you're watching this. So I was crushing a little bit on this girl. It was the first hippie girl that I met there. Then I then like Alejandro, he left too. Other people left. So I eventually went to go do some other stuff. This was an environment where you could just leave your stuff around and no one's gonna steal it. So I went to what did I go do? I went to talk to people. I just started talking to everyone. So my nervousness went away. My social anxiety went away. Because the people you meet there are just so incredible. And so I might just be forgetting a little bit of what happened, but we played until the sun came up, and I went to walk around. I think I went out to the. Did I go out to the gate? I feel like I went out to the gate, the entrance. Let's see. Did I go out to the gate? I don't know. I don't really remember. Being up all night and whatnot. What I do remember though is that I went to find some food, and they asked if I wanted to help out, and I was like, sure. So they were like, can you go get some water from this other kitchen and bring it back to us? So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And this other guy, he helped me out. He also went to help, and his name was Derp. He was like, you can call me Derp or you can call me Mumbles. And he had a smiley face on his face. He was a weird, weird, awesome guy. He was like saying the weirdest things, but he was that smile on his smiley face was just it made him the most amazing person ever. He had this long beard, and he was like 20 something. Weird. It was just so weird meeting all these hippies. Like this is like true American history in my opinion. It was just so incredible. It's like a utopia. So was getting used to being around so many people and knowing where I was finally, and I still didn't know exactly where I was. I was still figuring that out. Like basically, you have a main path. You have things on both sides, and I was on this side. So V was gone, unfortunately. I wish I could have hung out with her some more, but I was not in a position to like hook up with someone, to put it lightly, I guess. To like I didn't know where I was. I didn't know. I don't know. But to address the sexual free love type of stuff, I read on the internet before I even went that like the environment is so much free love that it's not sexual at all. It's like your brothers and sisters, not in a weird way, but it's like these this is your family, you know. So that's what I read before, and I found that to be very true. Like it's so incredibly true you would not believe. So there was that aspect of like wanting to hook up with this girl named V, and not really caring if we did because she was like my family. I do would have liked to pursue that, like see her again or something. I don't know. I didn't know much about her. I figured she was a hippie. From She was from California, but I didn't know if she was a normal hippie that like has a job or if she was like a hippie that is homeless. So I didn't know. She was damn. It was she had, I don't know. I'm gonna stop crushing on her in a video. Um, this one guy. Okay, so I went to go help out, and then I got some food because the kitchen if you help out at the kitchen, they'll like you. So the one of the people, the older people didn't really kind of run the kitchen, some of the kitchens, and so this one guy, his name was One-Legged Matt. Okay, One-Legged Matt was cool as shit. This was my first experience with Oregon weed. I think he might have been from Oregon or something like that, like Cali, Oregon, Washington. He was from the West Coast. He was just sitting in the kitchen running things, and he was just like, "We'll smoke up with you, whatever, whatever." And I was just like, "Hey," I kind of felt like an asshole by saying this, but I was just like getting off my mind, like what I want to say. Like he was like, "We'll smoke with you," and I was just like, "Cool." And then I went and helped out, and then I was like waiting for food or something, and he was just like, and I was just talking to him or something, and he was just like, "So, did you want to smoke some bud?" That's what I said. I was like, I might have to take off soon. Did you want to smoke some bud or something?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, there's bud everywhere." And he's like, "Kitchen needs some weed. Kitchen needs some weed." And this guy just came over with some weed, and this other guy came over with some wax, and he just packs a bowl with fucking weed and wax, with weed and wax, and I got high as shit. So this was pretty early in the morning. So then I'm just walking around talking to people. I left all my stuff around. I just left it around because no one's gonna steal it. Um, Mind you, there's hundreds of people in one area. Uh, Essentially, there was trails, so people would walk around through the trails, but there was 1,500 people there, But in one kitchen, there would be 20, 30 people, and then people walking through the trails to the kitchen. And then, people doing the regular thing, like sleeping in, hanging with their friends at their campsite and stuff like that. It was a little bit overwhelming with the whole, like, older people, because I'm 21. I was 20 at the time. Like, the older hippies in their 20s, they're, like, super into this lifestyle. It was a little bit overwhelming and a little bit it was only about 20% of the people were like that, like California older hippies that are like, and by older I mean in their 20s, not the old OG hippies, but the older hippies. They were the people who were the 20-year-olds who are total hippies, I guess. I don't know, it was a little bit weird, and but that was a small portion. Of the rest of them were just really, really cool. So many different types of people. There was a actually, yeah, the before I had gotten stoned. This was not my first. I'm sorry, I forgot about this one guy. His name was Soul. He rolled a joint well before the sun came up or something, like right when the sun came up or something like that. So this is before One-Legged Matt and helping out with the water and all that. He was kind of like, I thought he might have been a drug addict, because he if you talk to him or something, he would like wait, and then he would look at you, and then it was weird. I didn't know what to think about him. But he had just traded like a banjo for a guitar or something. I don't know. It was one of those. Um, so he rolled a joint, and I might have smoked it with that girl. I think so. But there was tobacco in the joint. He let me roll it. He was like, "Can you roll this for me while I play my banjo?" I was like, "Yeah." He didn't play banjo much. He had just gotten it. So I've been playing banjo too a little bit. Total randomness. So there's a banjo, a mandolin, drums, like a cajon, and guitar, and a saxophone. But the saxophone guy might have left. I don't know. So that was cool. So sorry if I missed anything out. This is such a beautiful time. So amazing. So this was before the 4th of July, but um, I'm gonna get to the next night, and then I'll stop the video, so it's not too long. So basically, I went and helped out in the kitchen. Then I smoked up. Then I got some oatmeal, and that was from the kitchen. And one of the guys made an important point. He said, "Do not put your bowl over the food. Put it like, if this is the pot of food," he said, "don't put your bowl over it. Put it next to it, and I'll put my I will put my spoon in there. And I was a little bit embarrassed, but it was an honest mistake. So I wasn't super embarrassed, obviously, because he was making sure that everyone he was making sure that I knew that it was for everyone's health. And yeah, because you don't want your bowl over the pot and contaminate anything possibly. So I got some food, I ate it, washed my bowl, put it back, and that was free food. So I grabbed my stuff, or I think I just started walking around and talking to people. I'm pretty sure I don't really remember what happened exactly. I just started talking to people. I would just be like, "What's up? I just got here. Where are you from, man?" And eventually, what happened was I was like, this one guy was like, "You seen my friend Soul?" And I was like, "That guy? Yeah, I was hanging. I haven't seen him." And I started talking to him, and I was just like, um, I think I might have said, "You got any like mushrooms?" I don't know if I asked for it or if he showed me, but I was just he had some mushrooms, and I was like, "I'll trade you this crystal for it," and it was a rainbow quartz. And he looked at it. I was like, "It's a pretty cool stone, man." And he was like, "All right, man. Here's some mushrooms." He put them in my hand. I was just like, "How strong are these?" He's like, "They're pretty strong." And so it was a small dose, but a small dose of strong mushrooms. And and at this point, I was like, I was really happy. I was stoned. Um, I was surprised that he gave me mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms for a stone. I hope that stone is good for him. And I was I took them. I just ate them and just started walking around. And I think that I went to the gate to look for my dad to tell him I was all right, and I couldn't find him. So I just went back in. So that was like a mile walk out, mile walk in. Not the hardest walk, but I mean it wasn't the hardest walk. Let me just say that it took a good 20 minutes, but that's all. So I when you walk out during the day, you see this huge trading line, like the trail going out and in. It's just people on the side of you, just like trading everything, like trading rocks, trading books, trading instruments, trading jewelry, trading clothes, trading food, trading all types of things, man. Like you have to experience this. I guarantee you would love it. If you got something you want to trade, go to the Rainbow Gathering, trade it. People were doing random pocket trades where you just take something out of your pocket and trade. I thought that was a little bit sketchy because I didn't want to get rid of stuff in my pockets, and I didn't want something crappy from someone else's pockets. But that's just me. But in the spirit of it, it's pretty fun. Um, I started noticing that it wasn't all these. It was cool hippies. It wasn't just your fucking lame, like, this was the legit hippie family. So I really recommend you guys go check it out. Like the legit hippies. So yeah, I go out to the entrance and I go past this trading thing, and it's cool. It's fucking awesome. I go back in and I'm walking with my shoes off. I'm pretty sure. Um, and I go back in. Yeah, it's nice walking with your shoes off through the forest. But I go back in. Excuse me. I go back in and I just start talking to people again. I go get my stuff and it's all still there. I might have ate some food, but oh yeah, but at the trading circle, this one guy smoked me up. He was just like, "You want to hit this bong?" I was like, "Sure, man." I was trading some crystals. So basically, what people do at the trading circle, they're like, "See anything you like?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I like that." And they're like, "What you got for it?" I'll be like, "I got this." I traded a lot of crystals, basically. I brought a lot, and I did not know that they would be fucking trading. I had no idea, so that worked out really well. Because people tend to like crystals out there, so that was awesome. Um, yeah, this is turning out to be an epic story of epicness. But I really, really hope you guys go to do that as well, like I did. I just went randomly. So, you know, probably midday or so, I'm walking back in. I go walk around. I just walked around talking to people a lot. They're really awesome people, a lot of beautiful women, a lot of cool guys. So, yeah. Um, I'm trying to remember what else I did that day. I basically learned my way around the campsite. I went with this one guy who was playing a drum. A lot of people had Native American drums, so there was basically a lot of kitchens, a lot of kitchens, and people would gather around the kitchen and get some food. Um, yeah, that was that was the first day. Let's see. Okay, that was the first day. Then okay, I remember. I'm starting to remember some more. Then I went back to the top, and I run into this guy named Harry Bull. That's like Harry Krishna, so it was like Harry Bull, Harry Boldas. That was his name. He was What happened? Okay, so actually, I'm getting out a little bit out of timeline. When I first walked down to the entrance, I talked to this vegan guy. His name was TD. He was telling me how he thought his name meant transcending death, and he was a vegan guy, and he was like saying how the world is going to be vegan, and he was saying how the Garden of Eden was vegan, and he was from California, and we're friends on Facebook now. Um, and What happened was I was talking to these guys, and they were giving me a bad vibe, so I went and talked to him. I didn't know him. I was like, "What's up, man?" He was like, "Man, um, I'm vegan. I think the world's gonna be vegan." And I was like, "I'm vegan, man." And he gave me a fucking hug, man. It was great. And because he was saying like we were both just agreeing like how the world is gonna have to go vegan and how amazing veganism is. And so um, he brings this pyramid everywhere with him. These three poles that go up about 10 feet high, and I sat in it. He was saying, "Can you feel the energy?" And it's not the type of thing where you feel it right there, or it's a very subtle thing where it's just like if you need to experience, you need to start working with the Merkaba and things like that if you don't already. Um, but it's like it was like this pyramid. I'm getting chills thinking about it. This pyramid is like the Merkaba is what your body is made of. It is sacred geometrically aligned with, and so these pyramids actually align your energy and bring it up. And so he was so fucking cool, man. Yeah. Okay. So um, at this point, I'm starting to let go of all my insecurities, all my fears of like what people think about me, and that took a minute to let go of, but I was letting go of it. So I go down, I go back up, I start talking to these people at their campsite, and then and then I leave because they were like kind of boring me. I was starting to trip, and I was like, "This is boring. I want to see everything here." So, just to let you guys know, my trip wasn't super hard, but it was fun. It made everything really fun. Um, he gave me like four mushrooms, and they were small, but they're strong for how. Which it's funny because he actually gave me food, if you think about it. And so I leave that guy, or I leave those guys that were boring me. I start going down the hill, and I talk to these guys, and this guy walks by me. And he's just like maybe wearing a robe or something, and he's got these big dreads and a tam, and he's old. He's like 40 something, and I thought either he was very dark skinned, so I didn't know what he was, but he turned out to be Mexican, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna talk to that guy." So I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He was like, "Good," and we started talking about how great the world is and how happy he is that all these young people come out here, and he was telling me like how life is about love. Then he tells me, oh yeah, someone told me about this thing called Krishna camp, and this is the like real spiritual meditative like group of people who come there to bring in love energy through Krishna, through kind of the Eastern religious, not really religious, but Eastern philosophy type of thing of like real meditation. And some of them, of course, practice it so much that they're like going through abstinence, um, staying away from the world, kind of, type of thing, like hate, getting out of hate, just really about like ascending the human body and being the best person you can be, which all religions talk about, but this is a more holistic way of doing it. And so um, I had heard about Krishna camp, so I was like, I'll go up there with you. He asked me about it, and I was like, I kind of know where it is. I'll go up there with you. Or I said it's up there, and then he was like, yeah, walk with me up there, man, because he was vibing off of me. He was like, I'm digging you, man. He didn't say that, but he could tell I was a very enlightened person, but also a very different person, a very unique person. And so, all of us were, but we're all different. I'm very much so open, and I'm a learner. I study all philosophies, and I study them extensively. I care about them. I really do. And so he was like, walk with me up there, and I was like, yeah, man. So this is the interesting part. I actually, because I went back up there with him, I found something that I had lost and forgotten. So because I was like, dude, that guy's really interesting, I'm gonna go talk to him. I eventually found something that I had lost, which was my flute, which is super important to me. And so I would have been devastated a little bit, like, yeah. I probably would have been able to find it because I left it with people because they were like, can I play your flute? And I was like, yeah. And then I started playing my guitar and I was like, I'm bored of this. It was those people that I'm bored of. And they were giving me a weird vibe because they were like, they look like drug addicts. And not everyone looked like drug addicts, just a few people. They looked a little bit rough, small percentage of the people. So I went up to Krishna camp with him, and I was blown away by Krishna camp. This was my first time being there. And unlike the rest of the camps, the kitchens, Krishna camp had like a tarp over it. Because these were people they weren't, it was a big group of people who came there together, who all kind of are into this Eastern philosophy type of living. Who, and the New Age stuff, but through the very old traditional like Hindu, Indian type of philosophies. They were into that type of stuff, and so they stuck together. So they came there together. So they had that, and then they had this other big tarp. It wasn't a tarp. It was like something you sit under, and it was the size of a house or something. Um, just something you sit under. And this had a lot of musicians, and a lot of people sitting there, and meditating and things like that. And I was really starting to see like, dude, women who are into this type of stuff are amazing women. And too much for me, man. That's not what I really meant, but like what I mean is like, what do I mean? Like, it really brings out their divine feminine energy to be so free and to be away from the toxic masculinity of the world. And so that was a very um, as a man, it's almost a hard thing to accept, to see like a woman so free and in her natural environment, which is nature. It was almost too much for me. I do have a little bit of social anxiety to go talk to people, but it was almost like, well, you really are doing this. You're great. Like, you're great, but you belong here. Women belong in nature, and I'm so happy for you to be out in nature. Um, so there was the social anxious part of me talking to women, but there was also the part of like, yeah, I'm not as advanced as you guys. They were like some serious hippies because I haven't experienced the whole world yet, and I had some rough times as a child, so I didn't get a chance to like really be me until recently. So they are, so I had some fucking chakra issues to deal with, my root chakra issues. So it wasn't just me being socially anxious to not talk to women. It was also like I'm just here to hang out a little bit. I'm not. I don't know. There was a lot of women there, so I mean, you're gonna want to talk to them. But I was a little bit anxious. I was a little bit fucking tripping. I felt kind of like a dork, just like, kind of sitting around. I was a little bit afraid to talk to the women. Story of my life. um, a little bit afraid, but there was a lot of women's, and I find it hard to talk to people. I find it hard to just spark up a conversation sometimes. Um, but I was getting better and better at it. So, but with it being Krishna camp, I was like so overwhelmed by like this whole high energy like camp, and this was closer to the top of the mountain. That like I don't know. I was tripping. I was tripping. I wasn't totally in my right mind a little bit. But as I got to the top, I sat down and I got some food from them because they had some vegan food. They had uh, spicy oatmeal and it was pretty good. And I felt like a dork because I was just tripping and I was just kind of sitting by myself. So don't. I'm not gonna do that next time. Trust me. Don't do that. You can go talk to people. Um, I was still affected by the world that I was leaving. This was a free world where you can just go talk to anyone about anything. So I was still in shock a little bit. I hadn't even gone to sleep yet. So weird stuff. Um, Free food. I'd sat down, and at this point, Harry Boldas, he went to go talk to someone or something. He was so kind of a person. He was just a gentle old guy. He was like in his 40s. He was telling me about his girlfriend who was like pretty young, and he was just like, yeah, whatever. Harry Boltas, shout out to you because you brought me to Christian camp. But he was very much so like a very peaceful person, which is what we need in the world. I'm about to find him and talk to him again. And so I go up to talk to these people, and they were talking about something. And I was like, "Hey, what's that?" And then I was just like, "Whatever." And then um, it was these two girls and a guy, and I was just like, I was trying to get into the conversation and say what's up because I was trying to talk to people, and break out of my shell basically a little bit. And so the girl and the guy kind of walked away, and I was just there with this girl, and I was just like, "What's your name?" And she said her name was Gaia. And she was just like, she was like slicing up some avocado, and she was like, "Do you want some?" And I was just like, "Yeah, of course, definitely." And then this other girl came up, and she was like, "Do you want some?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I think I just said something like, "Avocado is great for being out here," and she was just, and Gaia was like, "Yeah, it's a healthy fat." And yeah, that was super funny because like where do girls pass out avocado at Rainbow Gathering? That's where. And so I was just like, I just came here, I just got here. My name's Kortland, and so I was crushing on her at this point. And so she was another beautiful woman, very attractive, brown hair, um, very natural looking, no makeup. There's no women were not wearing too much makeup. They had face paint, some of them, but not a ton of makeup. And I was so fucking tripping that I was not being a normal dude. I was just like tripping, like I really like you, but I didn't say any of this. I was like, I really like you. Like I love being here, and this is so amazing. And just like so many beautiful emotions coming out of me. And so, but I was tripping too much to like be a normal person a little bit. I was having a good time. I was smiling and all that, but on top of just like being totally randomly there, like because my dad bringing me there. So there was a little bit of a tinge of like tripping and like being there randomly. It was kind of messing with me a little bit. It didn't impact on my time, my good time, but it was just like, of course, you still have a little bit of ego, and you're still a human. So humans make mistakes. So I was just like, yeah, whatever, blah 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 blah. And then she was just like, I'm gonna go pass this avocado around. And then I think I might have got up and left. She's another woman that I would love to continue to know. So fuck, it sucks. Yeah, I don't know if you can go there and find love, because the love is just for everyone. Everyone just gives you love, basically, which was great for the heart, really amazing. But I was definitely, I definitely have a benefit of being single, but or not a benefit, but I definitely am at a point in my life where being single is important. As much as I don't like that, I don't really have the ability to have a relationship right now. But what was I gonna say? But at that moment, I want one, but I just can't have one right now. So it sucked because I was a bachelor, fucking cool ass bachelor. If you know what I mean. Like I'm a very spiritual person. I know a lot about the universe and about the ancient world and about how we can, and about the divine masculine and feminine. So it was really good for my divine masculinity to meet all these beautiful women. Yeah, definitely good for my divine masculinity, and to be in nature with all these women was just incredible. And so next, I think I don't know why I left the camp, but I did leave the camp. And what else did I do that day? I basically went to set up my tent, and guess what? Big surprise, I got lost. Tripping on mushrooms in the woods, you're gonna get lost. Another thing I did though was I wrapped some wire. I went and sat by this guy who was wrapping a crystal in wire and trading it. That's what he was doing there, and he had his kid there, and we were just smoking weed, and his kid was right next to us, but his kid was like 13 or something, so he didn't let his kid smoke weed, but we did, and his kid just didn't give a fuck. Like he was just sitting there. Everyone was smoking weed, so I just sat down next to these guys, and they were cool, but they were just really chill because they're used to this type of stuff, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. And so then this other guy who's kind of looked like a frat boy kind of guy, but I don't know if he was. He had some weed, and so he rolled up a joint. And we smoked it. These two girls come and sit by us, and they were not the spiritual women. They were the free spirit women. They were the dress in really short, skimpy clothes. Um, and I'm not gonna try to stereotype them or anything, But one of them was Asian, and the other one looked like Native American or Mexican, and they were wearing skimpy clothes, and they gave off a vibe of like free spirit. And I was just like, I kind of felt like an asshole because there was something going on with me where I was losing. I was letting go of all the baggage I had in the world. Like I left home to go to the forest to just sit in the woods with hippies. It's a very weird thing to do. But I was just like, "Can I walk with you guys?" And they were just like, "You can do whatever you want." So I was just like, "Yeah," but I started walking with them, but like I was losing all this baggage to where like I just wanted to hook up with them, but at the same time, this is my whole life of just like having self love and respecting myself as a man, to where like you don't want to just sleep with any random woman because you want to sleep with the right woman. You want to sleep with someone who's gonna reflect that energy back to you. And so, you know, the sacred energy exchange at times can be very lustful. And I was just like, I'm not really digging this. You guys are hot, but I don't really have a mental connection with you guys. So they were just like talking to someone, and I just left. I was like, you guys are fucking boring. But I didn't say that. I just fucking left. I was just like, you guys are boring as shit. You guys are boring. Um, but I felt like an asshole a little bit because I was tripping and I didn't really have the I was letting go of the social anxiety to where like I didn't I should have just been like, hey, I was tripping though. I should have just been like, hey, and since then I've realized a lot more about my social anxiety that has to do with being on the autistic spectrum. But I should have just been like, I'll catch you guys later, or like um, started saying things about myself, like I'm into this, or like I like this, or like whatever, instead of just being like an asshole. I was just still a little bit nervous to talk to these women because they were super attractive. And it's like these fucking hippie girls are hotter than hot, okay? They're hot. Hotter than any fucking city girl, let me tell you that. Any Babylon girl. And so not just hippie, but like spiritual women, they're hotter than hot. They're real women, like in nature. But these girls were not like spiritual new age girls. They were just like the free spirit girls. I'm not gonna stereotype. I don't know them, but from what I saw and got a vibe of them, they were just more like party girls who liked rainbow gatherings and any type of festivals. So I'm not gonna say they were ditzy or like stupid, but like they were like maybe not so deep. I don't fucking know, something like that. They were free spirits. They just wanted to be at a place where they could be themselves and things like that. But on the other hand, they were thing that made me like walk away from them kind of was like they're kind of more so into themselves. They were kind of more so into like what they're doing and who they know and all that type of stuff. They had friends there and all that stuff. So I felt a little bit out of place, so I just left. That was like not a big part of it, but I felt like an asshole a little bit because I was just like I'm bored and I was tripping, so like I guess I used that to justify just walking away from them. It was funny a little bit, but I was tripping, and normally when I'm really high, I'm a quiet person. So I had to go talk to other people. I had to go talk to people because otherwise I'm just gonna be like, you know, quiet Kortland. So yeah. After that, I went to go set up my tent, and I got lost in the woods setting it up. Well, I didn't get lost, but I didn't know where I pit. I had to pitch my tent, and I lost where it was. So what did I do that night? I actually took a nap. I think or something like that. I think I took a nap, and then I went back out into camp, and it was nighttime at that point. And this is gonna be the close to the end of the video. I went back out to hang out with people, and I went back to Krishna camp. I brought my guitar and I played a few songs. And when I actually first got to Krishna camp, there was a guy playing a sitar. He was really cool. And man, like sober Cortland would have been like, "Can I play your sitar? How you doing?" I did talk to him, but I didn't. I think he actually put his sitar in a case. But I would have said that because I've never played a sitar before, so I might have asked him. I was still tripping a little bit or something, so I played my guitar a little bit, still fucking a little bit anxious to talk to people. It's a constant what's the word, constant, not battle, but it's a constant improvement for me to be able to talk to people. Okay. And so um, I played my guitar a little bit, and then this one guy was like playing his instrument. He had this weird Middle Eastern instrument, and then he was just like, "Can I play solo for a minute?" Because I was playing with him, and I was like, "Sure," I wasn't offended or anything, but I got up and left after that, and someone was just like, "I love your guitar," and I was just like, "Yeah, thanks." And man, I was it wasn't just the social anxiety part of it; it was the group, so many people there, and that really bugged me. I don't want to keep telling you guys about that. It's kind of important, but it doesn't really take away from the rainbow experience. It just I just like being alone sometimes. So I went back. Um, I don't really remember where this happened, but at one point I was right next. I was right next to my tent, like 50 yards or so from it, and I started talking to this girl who was sitting down and by her tent, and she had these paper things from one tree to another. And she says whenever the wind blows on them, it like blows good vibes and things like that. And she says the more tattered they are, the better. So that's cool. She was really nice, like incredibly nice. Um, there's so many. Okay, but one thing I did with her was I traded a crystal for a joint. She said her grandma grew this weed, and that she grew her grandma grew the weed, so it was nice of her. She gave me a joint, and she was just like, "If you want any more, come back and get some." And then her boyfriend came, and I was like, "What's up, man?" But I was enjoying talking to her more, I think, um, than her boyfriend. I don't know why. I like women, obviously. But she was a little bit chubby, but she was cute. She was very cute, and she was very natural looking, of course. Very very nice curves, very not no makeup, so she was very natural looking. Um, she was just with her boyfriend, or I think she said partner, but obviously it was a boy, a guy. And so I went and I eventually, because of her paper things, that's how I found my tent eventually. So that happened at some point on the second day. I lost my tent, and then I saw her paper things, and I was like, I'm close to my tent. Yeah, weird. 'Cause I had lost. I had lost. I was lost, bro. I was tripping. I was lost, man. That was so funny. I was like, I don't know where the fuck my tent's at, guys, man. Not drunk, but like I was just like stoned, like super high, just like I lost my fucking tent, man. I don't know where it is. I don't know where the fuck my tent's at. I'm gonna find it. I'm trying to find my tent, man. I just can't find it, man. You can't help me. I can't even help me, man. So that was a funny thing about day two. Um, so I went to Christian camp when I woke up, and I went back to my tent and I went back to sleep. So that was day two. It was a day full of amazing, beautiful weather, just amazingness, complete, complete, amazing lovingness. So that was day two. I went back to sleep. I did not see my dad on day two, which made him worry a lot, but he didn't freak out. He didn't freak out too much. It made him worry though, but he talked to like the rangers and all that, and they said that it's safe and that God damn it, you know what he did on day two. Someone was like, "Your dad's looking for you," and it was like a random person that told me that. They were like, "Are you Cortland? Is your dad so and so?" And I was like, I don't know what to say because I was talking to someone. It was really embarrassing, but they're just not like embarrassing to like, oh my god, my life's over, but just like a little bit embarrassing. But it was like, my dad was looking for me, so I was safe. Obviously, there was food and water, and it's safe out there. There's kids out there, parents, regular people. So my dad had like told the cops that I was like missing or something. It was the whole thing. It annoyed me, but like I was having such a good time. Nothing could weigh me down. It's the most beautiful people you'll ever meet at Rainbow Gathering. So check out part 3 whenever I make it. That's pretty much all I can think about from day 2. And if you watch this whole thing, congrats. And I hope that I've inspired you to come to a rainbow gathering in the United States. And I hope to see you there. Because I can guarantee you that the next one will be amazing. So it happens June and July. And so thanks for watching. Don't be a drainbow. And subscribe to my channel, please. Ask me some videos to make anything about. And I'll be making videos a lot. So I'll be making my video about the 3rd day, which was another great day. And it was actually the day that I left. I left that day with my dad. So I got there the first night, stayed up all night, and then the next day, which I'm calling day 2, is when I lost my tent, got to shrooms, and found my tent and went to sleep. So it was a great time. Day 3 was also very fun. There is one more thing I want to tell you guys about. When I was looking for my tent at night, this is gonna be weird and funny, but I was trying to find it, and all these people were like telling me where everything is, and they were so kind, you would not even believe. I eventually, there was camps. This is another funny random thing. There was a camp called Casual Encounters, apparently, where people were just casually, hooking up. And so there was another camp called like reggae, rough reggae in the rough or something like that, and it was just a camp. Another camp, and I was just, if I walked by someone, I was just like, "What's up? How you doing?" The whole day. And so that helped me get out of my shell a lot. Another camp was, I don't even remember, but I had gotten there the first night, didn't know where everything was. Got in there the second night, started learning where things were, and then the 3rd day, I knew where everything was. So that night that that 2nd day, going into the 3rd day where I went to sleep, for the night, I was trying to find my tent, and I had left Krishna camp because I took a nap, woke up, went to Krishna camp, and it was dark, and I was walking around with a flashlight, and and I had smoked that joint that the girl gave me at Krishna camp, with the guy, and I felt kind of like I should have passed it around, but I passed it between me and this other guy, and the divine masculine off that guy was amazing. It was incredible. If you want to meet a guy, go to Rainbow, ladies. True story. And so I was trying to find my tent, and I'm talking to this native guy, and the thing we connected on was we both played Native American flute, and so he was telling me how much he likes it and all that stuff. And he had actually played. I've been playing for maybe 2 years. He'd probably been playing for a long time. So he played kind of like a small show, like a little casual show. And then this one guy, and he was known for playing flute, This one guy, and there was not too many Native American flute players. I'll say that. So I was glad to be one of them. And so he was talking to me, and then this other hippie guy came up to him. He was like, "Man, I loved your show that you played earlier. I'm glad that you're here." And he was like, "I'm glad that you're here." And I played this game when I was a kid called Destroy All Humans. And there's this little alien guy who was walking around San Francisco in the '60s. It's a game, but it made me think of this because like I believe in aliens. I know they're real and different types of aliens, but it was a gray alien, which is a very specific type. Um, and you should research them. They actually in the game, if anything in video games and movies is totally freaking real. So in this movie, in the game, I'm sorry, in the game, it represented like all these aliens coming in, and he could morph into people's bodies and do all that type of stuff. So it represented like the hippie culture, not even knowing that all these aliens were around in plain sight, and like coming back to Earth and involving themselves with the hippies, but secretively some, but they believed in them. A lot of hippies, and um, I had conversations with people about aliens. There was people who were super spiritually advanced, like myself, with the knowledge type of advanced spirituality. Then there was people who were like loving type of spiritual advancement and really confident in themselves and things like that. But back to the game and how that has to do with this Native American and this hippie. He was in the game, that it represented like how people were taking all these drugs and listening to all this amazing psychedelic music and being free and doing all that type of stuff, and how that has to do with fixing the planet and alien and learning about aliens and all this type of stuff. If you played the game, you know what I mean. But I think you guys can know what I'm talking, what I'm going at. This guy was a hippie who looked like he was around back then. He was talking to this native guy. He was like, "I loved your music," and I was still tripping to where like I was like, "Dude, this Native American is talking to an alien who is in this hippie's body," and I really believed it. Like I really believed it because the hippie was like, "Man, it's so great to have you here." And the Native American was like, "Man, it's so great to have you here." And of course, he was like a light skinned guy, like long hair, beard, and the Native American was a Native American. I don't know what tribe he was, but he it was incredible to see these two people traditionally Native Americans and what some people consider Europeans fought each other. But now, and that's only in some instances, some of them were friends, but you guys know what I mean. But now they're just like, it's so great to, it's, then now they're just coming together for this beautiful freaking thing. And it was amazing. And I was just like a person just watching this happen. Where like, I really thought that he was like, because he was old, the hippie was old, and he was just like, it's so great to have you here. And the Native American, I forget his name. I wish I knew his name. He was like saying, "It's so great to have you here, like on my traditionally my land. America belongs to everyone, but he's like on what is traditionally my land, Turtle Island. Where my people have been for a long time." And he was just like that. He didn't say that, but he was just like, it's great to have you here. And it was just such a earthly, natural, beautiful, loving thing between like two guys. And the thing about it was like we were so far from the city, we were so far from other countries that it was just like this is going on, and the rest of the world has no idea how amazing, fucking powerful this shit was. It was. You have to experience it. You have to experience it. But from my perspective, I'm such a person to where like I get in situations with random people who like seem to come in my life at the right time, and I think it's for specific reasons. I'm just, if you know me, you know me, you know why. But I feel like I had a very unique experience that night. Anyway, I eventually went to sleep and woke up the next day, and and I'll get into that in part three. I know this is a very long video, and yeah, like I said, you know, I already said goodbye basically, and I want to add in that story. I think that was it. So I might do part three right now, and thank you for watching again.